Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so Philadelphia 76ers and the Los Angeles Lakers play tonight at Crypto.com Arena, 6 o'clock. Lakers are tied for 13th place. Sixers, I'm not really sure. I think they're 5th or something like that, 4th. Forgive me. But they are in the mix with a playoff spot. Joel Embiid is playing great ball. James Harden has rekindled his career and has settled into his role as a facilitator first, scorer second. Tyrese Maxey is now back from injury after a couple of weeks of returning. He's now in really good, sharp form. What else do they got going on? You know, you're finding that they're able to get some things out of people like Montrezl Harrell on their bench, Shake Milton, DeAnthony Melton, both having pretty solid seasons. Shake Milton started off a little shaky, but over the last several games, Shake Milton has now stepped his game up. And of course, if you guys remember how the Lakers game went in Philadelphia, we had DeAnthony Melton having the game of his life. I think he had like 7 threes and 7 steals or something like that. Definitely not something you're expecting him to duplicate tonight. But this is somebody that plays very, very well against the Lakers, obviously, and he's from North Hollywood, so we need to be very careful going up against guys from LA. We learned that lesson against Dallas. We keep taking Christian Wood and Spencer Dinwiddie's LA status for granted, but every time we run into a team with those players on it, they murk us completely. So we got to start taking these LA dudes seriously. If you're from LA, chances are you either love the Lakers or hating them, and you want to play against them very well either way. So guys like DeAnthony Melton will not catch us off guard. He's coming home. Okay, and he's going to want to play well. So is James Harden, obviously. So we need to be very careful. This is a game where we're not in a position to say that we're favored to win this game by any stretch of the imagination. We had a game against the Philadelphia 76ers early this year where it was one of the most embarrassing losses in recent memory, to go along with about 7 or 8 just like it this season. But that was one of the ones where both coaches stumbled over themselves. Neither one of them really coached a good game, to be honest with you. I thought our coach had some of the same deficiency issues we see regularly against Philly in that game. And Philly had an opportunity to close the game out and did one of the most epic choke jobs in the last minute of a game that you've ever seen in your entire life. And the Lakers just weren't able to capitalize on it. But it won't be something I'll forget. My Doc Rivers criticism has always been the same. I just feel like, a lot of what choices that he's made out there on the basketball floor, I just haven't agreed with when I see him play and coach his teams. I just know that he hasn't lost to the Lakers in a long time, so that's not a reflection of him failing against us, because the Sixers have won every game they've played against us for the last 2.5 years. So that's not a thing. They beat us rather easily. Joel Embiid has a good time against the Lakers. Every time he sees them, he's averaging like 45 points against us. Every time we see them, it's a problem. So I don't expect tonight to go too much different, but I am optimistic that our team will fight, because even when we play poorly, we have effort. So that's basically what I saw against Dallas. We had a whole lot of effort. I thought the effort was on 10. Guys gave me all I could get from energy standpoint. I thought the basketball IQ was on a 1. And I thought it was one of the dumbest games I'd ever seen our team play, just from top to bottom. And the sad thing is that when I listen to different people talk about the game, I find a new mistake that the Lakers made. It's like stuff that I wasn't paying attention to or forgot about. People were pointing out like, yeah, and that was a mistake, and it was about 9 or 10 mistakes the Lakers made down the stretch of that basketball game that really embarrassed the heck out of their team, just like they did against them on Christmas. So right now, the Lakers are on a bad 2-game stretch. We lost to the Denver Nuggets without LeBron James before that, in a game that I thought was incredibly low basketball IQ as well. A lot of that is a testament to just who's missing, to be completely honest with you. When you don't have Austin Reeves out there, you don't have Anthony Davis out there, you're missing Patrick Beverley as well, your basketball IQ is coming down. Let's just be honest. And we do expect Patrick to be back tonight. I don't know if that's a good thing. Because our coach tends to lean on him too much. We've talked a lot about that at length all year long. So we're not going to do it now, but we do want his defense down there for certain pockets at a time, and we've definitely missed his defensive IQ on the basketball floor over the last several games. That part, I will never lie to you guys and say that I've been the biggest Patrick Beverley fan on this team this season, but I know for a fact these last 2 games we missed him. I could tell you that. We definitely missed him. And that's what it is. Like some of our smarter players, they're not out there. Austin Reeves is such a cerebral guy. He's heads up. He makes a lot of good decisions most of the time, especially when he's not in pain. Because when he's hurting from an ailment of any kind, he doesn't play as well. But when he's 100%, he's definitely one of our top go-to thinkers out there. And it's rough when you don't have that. You know, I don't like disrespecting players, but it's just some guys, it's just not their strength. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, we're leaning on some players where that's the case right now. So we just gotta keep on dealing with what comes with that. To be honest with you, I don't know if you can have people turn into better versions of themselves or teach them things that they're no good at overnight. But what we can do is appreciate the effort that we've seen. Russell Westbrook, I thought he was bad against Denver and great against Dallas. Exactly what I expected. The inconsistency with his abilities are there. You know, he can help you effort wise every night. Sometimes the shot falls, sometimes it doesn't. You can count on him taking shots that really don't really make you all that happy a lot of the time, but you can also count on him making your big men look good, driving to the rim repeatedly, and if he can hit his layups, he's definitely going to contribute a great deal to your scoring. I thought his three-point shot was really good in this last game. In fact, I thought he played one of his best overall games against Dallas. It was just everybody else who didn't really show up. Wenyen Gabriel was also a standout, big-time standout. He was fantastic. Playing undersized big man role next to LeBron James. I thought his game was about as good as anybody's. And I'm eager to see the Lakers give him a bit more respect and cachet. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just my own point of view on Wenyen Gabriel, but I just think that he's being politicked. He's the one player on our team that I legitimately think is being pushed aside, and it has nothing to do with how he's playing. I really don't think it's a reflection of anything other than the fact that he's not affiliated properly to be demanding all these minutes. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where it's like you can't deny that you're a better team with him on the floor. And if it were up to me, he would probably be getting 30 minutes a game, just be out of necessity. The rest of our power forward position without Anthony Davis is questionable. I like JTA defensively, but offensively he doesn't give me a whole lot. I like Troy Brown, but I could prefer him playing the 3 than the 4. I like LeBron James, but he needs a breather, you know what I mean? And I think that Wenyen Gabriel is someone that I can flip back and forth between the 5 and the 4 and always have somebody that's going to help me with 50-50 balls, always going to help me with rebounds, especially offensive rebounds, always going to help me with easy buckets because he's very efficient. He doesn't miss very much. I know people don't realize this, but he doesn't miss very much. We just don't give him a lot of shots. And so as I look at his production per minute, I realize this is one of our most productive players. And if we would just erase all of the clutch affiliation necessary stuff for guys to get on the floor and start playing who's better, you'll find out that Wenyen Gabriel is somebody you probably won't remove from the floor very often. So I just think that, my wish for Wenyen Gabriel is that he just sits down with Rich Paul and signs a deal with him so we can get this boy to have the backing necessary to ascend his career to where his level of play is actually matching. Because for me, he's been better than the role player that he's been positioned at all season and last season as well. And I want to see him get the opportunity that other guys get to be as good as they possibly can be. And I just see that he's getting pushed aside in the opposite way, and I will not say it. Straight up. So that's what it is, man. It's exactly what it is. Now I want to see TB get some more minutes as well. TB has been balling out of control for the past couple weeks. Unfortunately, the matchup against Dallas just made it so that the coach didn't feel comfortable putting him on the floor. Better basketball IQs minds than mine would tell you that was a good decision. Guys that simply know the game better than me, so I refer to them in regards to what would go wrong if we were to run him in that situation. But given the fact that I didn't get a chance to lay eyes on it myself, to see teams exploit the 3-point arc, which would in theory be open if we left him down there in that situation against that offense, I actually want to see it. Even though I know they say it leaves a perimeter player open at all times, the reason why I want to see it is because you have to take into account the defensive end for the team that you're going against. How are they going to match up with you when they brick that 3 that's left open, which you're probably leaving open anyway because they're not playing the greatest perimeter defense, and then they have to deal with Thomas Bryant's energy on the other side, dunking and rebounding, drawing fouls, and ultimately hitting mid-range jumpers and maybe even a 3. I just think his offensive talent would have given us the points that made up for what it is you thought he would mess up schematically on the defensive end. And you may have been surprised to see that he might have been better guarding the perimeter than maybe we gave him an opportunity to be, based on the fact that we just refused to give him a chance to do so whatsoever. Now, I know he's not a good defensive player to begin with, which is another reason why I don't care that we run him in these situations. Because at the end of the day, it's 4-5 with him down there defensively anyway. He's bad defensively. So I'm not looking at him to do anything on the defensive side regardless. So give me him for the offensive side and allow me to lean on his ability to rebound the ball, get easy second chance points, and most importantly, take pressure off of LeBron James so that he doesn't have to take the punishment he was taking down there when he slotted next to William Gabriel as a center. That is what makes up for the schematic difference that ultimately puts you in a position to have an open three-point shot every time a center is on the floor, is that you get to go down the other side and get those shooters off the ground, off the floor, by having him draw those fouls against him. So this is the theory that I've been wanting people to try, and if it doesn't work, if they string together 2 3-point shots that are open, you sit them down. But you don't not try it when you have the deficiencies we had, and the size is what it was that ultimately left us at a disadvantage. So I just feel like the philosophy, you give too much respect to 3-point shooting space and not enough respect to what you can do, demolish them on the other side with that size. And I just want to see it tried. Because when you're forcing a team to shoot the 3-point shot, they're going to die by it 9 out of 10 times. Now, Dallas, maybe not Dallas, but I'm saying in situations like this, yes, the lineup, the offensive setup is meant for the center to be exploited. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't make up for that. More so for what he does give you against him on the other side. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I trust stronger basketball minds, but what I don't want to see is what I see left open because of us adjusting to that spacing not being taken into account. Because that's just as much of a hole as any other hole, is it not? Too much credence given to one and not enough credence given to the other left open. So that is what I'm saying. Basketball IQ must be accounted for. If you're going to give me something on running, you better know you're leaving something on the back end 9 out of 10 times with a roster with a hole like this in it. So that's something I want to talk about. Or rather, I'm glad I was able to, because this, I don't like it. I'm a basketball fan who grew up on a big man dominating the paint inside out. And I want championships like that repeatedly. So for me to just see this era where people aren't taking advantage of size and letting jumpers control the entire situation, I just feel like there's a way to beat that. And it starts with defense, transition, buckets, and ultimately perimeter defense, and not adhering to the spacing aspect of things so much as it pertains to being able to draw fouls on the other side. Draw them fouls, get them idiots out of them space. All that spacing is only good as the players they keep on the floor. And 9 out of 10 teams don't have 16 players they can run with that spacing stuff. They got to use the players they got for it. And if 1 or 2 of those players are removed from that lineup, guess what? They're changing their style of play. All I need is 2 of them dudes getting foul trouble, and they out of here. So that's my theory, man. That's my theory. Too much credence given to the guarding the perimeter when nobody's guarding it any damn way. Give that some thought as well. How many people are actually stopping the 3 from going up? They're not. These teams are averaging 35, 43s a game. You lining up with a bunch of small guys to guard the perimeter ain't guarding the perimeter. So that needs to be said as well. Anyway, so yeah, tonight, Philadelphia, they got a lot more talent than us, y'all. Without Anthony Davis, we're not supposed to beat this team at all. This should have been a scheduled loss. You talking about the Nuggets game was a scheduled loss? This is a scheduled loss. You sit Bron, you sit AD, you sit everybody worth playing, and you let Philadelphia run their starters against your worst players. That's what you do in a game like this, in my humble opinion. Because you got to understand, Joel Embiid and James Harden are not going to play any games with our low basketball IQ selves. Ain't no Anthony Davis out there. Ain't no Austin Reeves. They're going to outthink us. They're going to beat us, and that's it. However, there is a however to the Philadelphia 76ers for all the talent that they have. Mind you, Tobias Harris will not be playing. He's out. No Tobias. But for all that they have, Doc Rivers tends to get in the way. I don't know how he does it, but he does it a lot. This last game they had in Philadelphia, against the Utah Jazz, in Utah, they were about 20 to start that game and found a way to lose the lead with 33 seconds left in the game. Now, they were able to get a heroic bucket by Joel Embiid, but it wasn't no marketing out there. There's no reason for them to have blown a 22-point lead against a Utah Jazz, marketing Utah Jazz list team, whatever. If he ain't out there, they ain't supposed to be able to recover no 20-point deficit against a Joel Embiid-led Philadelphia 76ers team. This team has bench issues. And the reason why I believe that bench issue exists is because Doc Rivers tends to use rotations of players that don't really help him. and they be blowing leads when he puts his bench in the game based on the fact that bench just doesn't have a whole lot of continuity to it. So it's going to be about who he's using, who he's leaning on. You know what I mean? And if he gets away from the right people, that's when you attack, because that bench with the George Niangs and some of those other guys, then it's going to be on Montrezl Harrell, if they choose to play him, to really give him that energy off the bench. Because when I look at that bench, I don't see a whole lot there, man. I just don't. I think about a guy like Furkan Korkmaz. We mentioned him a lot. He shoots the ball very well, but he don't get a lot of minutes. Matisse Thybulle, they use him sparingly. We'll probably see more of him tonight, which is a very bad thing, given the fact that Tobias is out. That means you got to deal with a highly, highly intelligent defender, to say the least. He's one of the best defenders on the planet. So with him getting more minutes, they're a better team, in my opinion. Just defensively, they're gonna turn it up if he can score anything, and they don't need him to most of the time. Joel Embiid, the ceiling doesn't exist. The ceiling doesn't exist. If he breaks a record tonight, you ain't going to be surprised. If he scores more points than any other human being in the history of the sport tonight, you don't be surprised. He can go 401, won't be surprising. That's how much talent he harbors, and that's how bad defensively we're going to be in guarding him tonight. It's that real. I don't see any reason why he can't go for 50 tonight. None at all. No, there's nothing in the way. Like, let's just be honest. The Lakers don't have anything in the way of Joel Embiid doing whatever all night. Nothing. Thomas Bryant, again, he's not a defender. Wenyen Gabriel's undersized, and even if he weren't undersized, no way in hell he's guarding that man. LeBron James, no way in hell he's guarding that man. We don't have anybody to guard Joel. And so that's why I'm saying this should have been a scheduled loss. For all they were saying about the Nuggets game, I felt like we could beat the Nuggets because we had beat the Nuggets without Anthony Davis. With the same people we ran out there for the scheduled loss. I just thought that was a misevaluation of what we were doing. That people didn't study the homework well enough to say, we should not tank against a Nuggets team that we just beat with these same players. You know what I mean? No, absolutely not. You schedule that loss for the Philly game that schematically you ain't got a shot at. But Lakers do what Lakers do. So the thing about the Philadelphia 76ers in that Utah game is they gave up a bunch of three-point shots down the stretch of the game. Open ones. They don't even want to guard the perimeter. They did the same thing against us in the comeback. They just don't like guarding the perimeter down the stretch of the basketball game. The closer it gets to the final seconds of the game, the more intent they are on allowing people to shoot the three by themselves. It's the complete opposite strategy you should have as a basketball team, but it's one that I've seen with the Philadelphia 76ers more than once this year. Like, they have older players, and they really love playing the percentages not running out there. So what we need to do is shoot the three-point ball very well tonight. Now, I saw something in the last game that really stuck out that I would never actually tell us to use, but if these guys are going to find synergy together, let's see if they can do something. Russell Westbrook and Kendrick Nunn. Now, we talk about basketball IQ. These are the two guys that come to mind. Not their strength. However, I saw something in that last game with those two that allowed me to understand they've been working with one another. They have synergy. They have a rhythm about themselves. Russell Westbrook got a rhythm pass to Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn hit that shot in rhythm. They were on the same page. And when I see stuff like that, I return to it. I absolutely return to it. I don't care if they're the worst two players we got. If they are getting along and they know how to run two-man game off each other, then those are possessions I can use. And so I want us to try to revisit that. But it has to be managed properly, because this is not something that I want us to try too often. These are not players that I want to see on the floor very often together, but they did something good last time, for whatever it's worth. So, yeah, I like the synergy that Russell Westbrook is starting to develop with some of the players around. Just overall on his team, he plays well with certain guys. He plays well with Troy Brown. Plays, well with Thomas Bryant. Several other players that just tend to play well with Russ. LeBron James and Russell are starting to find synergy, even though the chemistry is not there. The synergy is starting to be there. If they can just learn to trust one another, root for one another, and not beat ops, I think they'll be fine. Because they can play with one another. That's not the issue. It's just whether or not who is going to trust who to take a shot. And if the guy misses a shot, are you going to come down and try to take another shot in response to that because you're obviously more responsible than him? It's just that childishness between him and LeBron that I've been detecting all season. So I don't know if anybody else detected it, but I do. Just want them to know I do see it. So it hurts us every time. They have got to find a way to not be at odds with one another on the basketball floor. And it ain't on Darvin Ham to do that. Not with them two Hall of Famers, no. Y'all cachet is too high for him as a rookie coach to come in and say, please Nah. Y'all got to want it for each other. You got to want it for yourselves. You got to want it for the Lakers. And so that's what it is. I don't think Russell's going to be traded. I don't. A strong part of me doesn't believe that is actually going to be the trade we make. I just don't. As the closer we get to the trade deadline, I think less and less likely that anybody sees him as a player that can get them over the hump. And taking on this $47 million contract means paying double in taxes. So now that I understand that, it's very unlikely the Lakers are able to get rid of that without attaching 2 picks. And he's playing too well to give up 2 picks to get rid of him. So he's not going anywhere, LeBron. You're going to have to hold on to him, and you're going to have to find a way to use him and win with him. Because that is our goal. I don't care what it looks like. That is our goal. He's going to have to be somebody that helps us win a championship if that's our goal. Then that means we're going to have to manage him and his basketball IQ issues and his bad shooting issues. So he's turning the ball over, acting like, it's not going to work out for him. You got to cut it off. And I think Darvin Ham's done a pretty good job of that for the most part. So that's what it is, man. We got to manage Russell. Kendrick Nunn, same thing. They sent Cole Swider back down to the G League against a team that leaves people open for 3-point shots. You don't send your best 3-point shooter away right before you go up against one of the worst defensive 3-point shooting teams in the league when you happen to be the worst 3-point shooting team in the league. But these are the type of things, it's like the Laker organization, they be making moves and you be like, did you assess what was coming when you made that move? Because it directly correlates to what you shouldn't have done. You don't know that, do you? That's what the Lakers I've seen them do that type of thing more than once this season. And it just caters to why they're a bad basketball club, bro. I'm telling you, this is not a good team. We got some really, really good players. It's a good unit. But the organization and how it's run, the things they're doing around the unit, the stuff that they're aiming for, reaching for, hoping for, all misguided to me. Going after Myers Leonard, that had nothing to do with basketball, and we all know it. We all know it. That had to do with the Kyrie Irving thing. And this is the type of corny stuff. I'm like, look, the people who are in place with the Lakers, they're thinking about stuff other than basketball at all times. And it shows in all moves, yo. All moves. From the people they draft who look like somebody else to the stuff that they pick up because that person's affiliated with them to this person's over here because he's with us and not with them. And it's just ridiculous. Okay? And it's why the team is trash. With Patrick Beverley coming back, I'm pretty sure he'll get over 28, 30 minutes tonight because we know he's like some ultimate Hall of Fame player in the coach's eyes, so I do expect him to be used a lot tonight. Hopefully his 3-point shot is falling, driving at the rim. Obviously his defense is always on point. He's going to help with that. Again, basketball IQ should be higher with him on the floor. I have to admit, we really missed his intellect defensively in the last game. I love what I've been seeing from Max Christie. Give him more minutes. I know he's probably not going to start with the return of Patrick Beverley, but I think he should still be starting, especially with Lonnie and all these guys out of the lineup. I think it's a perfect time to showcase Max Christie against the Eastern Conference team that's going to give him a lot to deal with. Put him on a guy like James Harden for a couple possessions. He's going to get cooked. He's going to learn. He's going to get better. We put him on Luka, and he got a stop or two. Even though they were targeting him, it didn't always work out for them. And that's something I want people to understand. Go back and watch that Dallas game. Did they target our young player, Max Christie? Yes, they did. They tried to run every offensive play against him. And you know what? They ain't get it on every play. They found out the hard way. He's not a patsy defensively. Don't target Max Christie defensively. That ain't one of his weaknesses. In fact, it's a strength. He'll keep up with you. He'll get a stop. And they found that out. So I want us to continue to use Max Christie like that. Because just like I said about Jarrett Culver in my video earlier, some guys, I don't care if they give me nothing offensively because they can do so much defensively that will turn into offense. And we have so many defensive deficiencies till we need what it is that they do. So I want the Lakers to pick up Jarrett Culver even though he only shoots 23% from behind the arc. I don't give a damn. Just make sure he never shoots and he'll do everything else right. This is the type of thing I want us to do because I know if we add enough Max Christies and Jarrett Culvers and these little dudes that can play defense, Troy Brown, they don't have to have the greatest cachet, Stanley Johnson, just give me enough of them dudes. They are going to have enough fire and defensive intensity, wiry ability to get in transition and steal the ball from some of the better players against them. You get enough of them role players on this team that have enough upside, and you're going to feel good. I wish Stanley Johnson was still here. Lord knows we could still use Stanley. And that's what I think Jarrett could give us. That's what I think Max is giving us. I just know better. You know, as much as I love Austin Reeves, one of the issues we have with Austin is that in some certain situations, he ain't fast enough to keep up with the guys we want to put him on. He's good enough defensively, but he ain't fast enough. Max is. Jarrett is. if their conditioning is right. So that's why I want us to just do this. I know it ain't conventional. I know everybody's saying Jarrett's nobody. I know that. But he's also the 9th pick in the draft 2 years ago. And I also know that he provides perimeter defense. And what are we looking for? Wings. Every time I hear Mo Harkless' name, I just realize there's another name even better. Every time I hear a name like Myers Leonard, I know there's a name even better. And you just have to call him up. Jay Huff, for example. Call him up. McCoy, South Bay Laker. Call him up. We don't have nobody on our team as dynamic as McCoy. We don't. I'm going to tell you right now, we don't have a single soul who can hit a mid-range jumper and dart around and do all that Jordan Poole stuff like McCoy, who's on our South Bay team. You don't even know he's with the Lakers, but boy, he's balling and always balling. So these are the type of things I just want the Lakers to stop acting like some of us fans don't know this stuff is happening. I know the South Bay Lakers are balling. They just won their 50th game with their coach yesterday. I know they're balling. Half of them dudes on the team right now ain't as good as them dudes. And I've been saying that since the summertime. If the Lakers use what it is they have instead of sitting on talent, pretending like they don't have it for future seasons, they will be able to make this team that LeBron James is sitting on right now better. Because all he wants is a little more dynamic talent to use. And it's half of them dudes in the damn G League right now. So these are the type of things I'm thinking about. We're going up against the Philadelphia 76ers. I ain't thinking about this game. You know why? Because we can't beat the Sixers if they do what they're supposed to do. It's because we don't have enough talent. Why? Because we keep reaching for stuff that doesn't have any value and giving away stuff that does. Philadelphia 76ers found out how good THT was in the last game. He had a highly efficient game, went for 20 points and hit a half-court buzzer shot. We gave him away for Patrick Beverley, who can barely do anything for us for 6 months into the season. We're already ready to let him go. THT is going to go on to have a career for another 15, 20 years, maybe make an all-star team. This is the type of stuff that you let this organization do in this era while they're trying to figure out what the heck to do with LeBron James. You're going to watch some of the talent that we've given away go on to have fantastic careers. I want all of this to stop. I want the value of the players that we have to be up to par, and I want the players that we're aiming for to bring into this team to be players that can have some value for us. I know I can't retrade Myers Leonard. The whole league doesn't want that dude. Why the hell am I bringing an asset I can't retrade to my roster for any reason whatsoever? Only bad organizations do things like that. And we keep on bringing negative assets to our situation. Boy can't find a spot in the league, and y'all want to bring him here. Stupidity, man. I'm sorry. I just can't get over it. So, yeah, well, 76er game, 6:30 tonight. I'm sure Joel Embiid and James Harden. James Harden's averaging like 13 assists over the last couple games. So he's going to probably get it like 16 tonight on us. Joel, like I said, I expect him to go for 45, 50 points tonight. I really do. The only reason why he won't go for that much is if he either gets in foul trouble or if it's a blowout and he has to sit the third quarter. Otherwise, he's just going to be shooting over shorter people all night long or just drawing fouls against Thomas Bryant, which is inevitable because you know Thomas is going to draw them fouls. They're not going to give us the calls. And that's another thing. When you're watching Laker basketball this season, one consistent thing that you know is that the referees are definitely not going for you. Know that. I don't care how many times you go to the line. The key calls that you need to get, you ain't getting. History's telling us, study the tape. It's an optical illusion. We always go to the line more than the other team, but we always find ourselves at a disadvantage when we need not to be, based on the type of calls we don't get and win. Study it. So it is what it is, man. It's a highly manipulated NBA. I'm pretty frustrated with it. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I watched the Philadelphia 76ers drop 147 points a couple games ago against God knows who. No, you know, it is what it is. But what I can say is, in looking at this team, the one thing that you can clearly see is an Achilles heel for the Philadelphia 76ers is rebounding. Against the Chicago Bulls, they were out-rebounded pretty handily and lost that game. Usually there's a dynamic player who's going off against them, whether it be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in OKC, who destroyed them and got a lot of success there. I don't know that they actually won that game. Did they win it? I don't remember who won that game. But Shai killed them real good. And then you saw the same thing with DeMar DeRozan as well in that game. So, Jordan Clarkson went off for 38 in the Utah game. So these are the type of things where it's like if you can get one of your players to have a 40, 45-point game, LeBron James, then you might be able to match what they're giving you. Or if you could have a situation where like 8 players in double figures, you're going to need to score about 130 points to win this game, in my opinion. Safely, 130 points. Because with them being capable of scoring 145, 147 points, if you're not trying to aim for ridiculously high scoring, then chances are you're just not going to be able to do enough. So that's what it is. Maxey, Joel, James, they're all in a great space right now. The Meltons, they're all in a great space. And so that's the difference now. You got to deal with Maxey. If Maxey wants to go off for 40 on you, it shouldn't be a reason he can't, because we don't have anybody fast enough to keep up with Tyrese. We just don't. You know, I don't see it. Maybe Patrick Beverly would be the kind of guy you want to put on Tyrese Maxey tonight. He can frustrate him, but he's still going to run past him. So this is one of them things where it's like, what we're hoping for tonight is that the bench of the Philadelphia 76ers can just struggle mightily. And that we can get some of those starters in foul trouble. Because after you get those starters out of there, then they're leaning on players they had no business leaning on. Dumbs it down for us to kind of attack them. We can beat them if they're leaning on the bench easily. We do have a better bench. So we're going to need smart play, man. And I don't know where I'm going to get it from. LeBron James is going to have to be better. 0-7 threes in the last game. That's never going to work, man. A lot of people got on his case about it. I just felt like he ran out of gas. 6 offensive rebounds, playing center. It was tough, man. Going up against Luka Doncic, who's killing him. I mean, it was a lot. And tonight ain't going to be no easier. In fact, it should be just as hard, because look at Luka. Is he that much better than Joel? I think them guys pretty much in the same category at this stage. So it's like you're going up against one MVP candidate one night and going up against another the next. And I expect both of them to try to, outdo each other. And that's another thing. It's like Luka Doncic and Joel Embiid going against each other. When seeing the Lakers, it's like, okay, which one of us can have the bigger line against the Lakers? That's more so what it is. Ain't neither one of them going up against the Lakers. They're going against each other. If you want to know what I really think. And Bron is just in the middle of that. So that's what I want Bron to take a look at. And I want him to look at that. I want him to believe that too. I want him to be offended by that. I want him to be absolutely offended by that, because I am. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly how I'm looking at it, though. If they ain't going up against the Lakers, it's which one of us can destroy this whack team better. And then maybe it'll enhance our chances of getting the MVP trophy. So that's how you should look at it if you're a Philly fan, too. It's like, man, the little Laker team, they ain't about to do nothing. That's exactly how you should look at us. And I'm a fan of 30 years, and I'm telling you, that's exactly how they should look at us. So if the Lakers want to do something about it, I'm welcoming the opportunity for them to make me look silly. You know what I mean? But as of right now, the only thing that's going to keep Philly from winning the game is if Doc Rivers does something like he did in the last game and blows it, which is possible, pretty possible. But it's not something you want to count on when you see James and Joel and Ty playing like this. Don't count on it. So that's pretty much what I got, man. Scheduled loss, if you ask me. I've been wrong. The Lakers have thoroughly surprised me. I remember I felt the same way about the Orlando game. We came out there and smacked them. So, hey, I'm open to being wrong, but I don't see no reason for the Lakers to have any success tonight whatsoever. Not unless AD is a late scratch and decides to play. Other than that, we'll lose by 10 or more. Video 44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.